Thanks for joining us on Creating Dementia Solutions. I'm Richard Pyatt. It's a Miles for Memories program. You hear us and see us here on Access Vision. You might be hearing us as a podcast, and we appreciate that too. Follow Miles for Memories on Facebook, and you will be alerted when these episodes come around. You can also check the Access Vision site, of course, as well, and just find us however you can. We appreciate that, whether it is here too on Access Vision. You know, we've been spending a lot of time this year in 2024 talking about things from the perspective of the caregiver. That is, folks who are assisting people, caring for people with dementia, whether they be loved ones or others, and trying to focus on information that's useful to them. And so today, Ali Hamad joins us, pharmacy manager at Lux Care Pharmacy in Battle Creek. We're going to talk a little bit about medication adherence and other pharmacy-related information. Ali, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Where is Lux Care, by the way?
So the easiest way to really explain it is Lux Cafe.
Okay.
Because we're really near it. Everybody knows where Lux Cafe is in town. We're on the same side of Lux Cafe near 94 and Capitol Avenue.
Okay, very good. Hence a connective name, Lux Care.
It was by coincidence, but yeah, it worked to my favor big time.
It was a coincidence.
It really is.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in business?
I've been there at that location for about 7 years now.
Okay.
Going on our 8th year in that location.
So you certainly are familiar, and you had experience before this, of course, with helping folks and the everyday challenges of filling their prescriptions and adhering to medication and that sort of thing. Is there something that stands out to you in terms of one of the most prominent challenges with adhering to one's medication regimen?
So it's remembering to take it.
Yeah.
I guess it's the biggest problem with the medications, or some patients tell you, I don't really feel like it's helping out at all. It's mostly the family members that are telling you that. But there's also a lot of ways that the pharmacy can help out to help them be adherents to it. One of the biggest thing that being independent that we do is the blister packs. They help out the patient and the caregiver to make sure that they took the medication.
How does that work?
They're little blister packs. They're just a small little packet that has all their medications in there. They're color coded. So for the morning, they'll be yellow so that they can know. For evening, they'll be like orange. Or at night, they'll be blue so the patient would know which one to take. And the best thing about them is that they have the patient's name on each one. They have the medication that's inside that blister pack on each little small packet. They can tear them up and just take that little packet wherever they're going. So let's say they're going out to the movies or something at night and they don't want to take their whole bottles of medications. They can just take that one blister pack. And the best thing that helps the caregiver is that it has a date on there. So if mom or dad don't remember if they took their medication or not, you can just look at that date and it'll tell you if they took it or not. Or if they have a few packets that are sitting there, they can tell which day they missed their medication. So then they'll help identify what's the issue for them missing their medication on that day. So those have been really a big help to help them out.
Sure sounds like it. This is an improvement to the pillbox kind of deal, isn't it? I mean, the Monday through Friday pillbox that one might fill for someone, and there's some opportunity for mistake there, right? This is different.
Yes, so this is basically we're taking that whole process and doing it in-house for the patient for free. They get their medications from there, so we do it. And it helps out a lot because when the patient first comes in, they come in most time with their caregiver because, they just come with the bag of the medications, not knowing what's all in there. Mm-hmm. It helps us because the first time they come in that way, the pharmacist is what talks to them about it all to see how they're taking their medication. We review to make sure there's no drug interactions from going to multiple doctors for different diseases. So it helps us go through all that medication to make sure that there's no drug interaction, there's no other medications that are causing them to make their issue even worse. And it takes away from the caregiver that goes every Sunday to put them in there for them per week. We take that away from them, and they're just more confident just tearing it off, opening it, and just giving them the medication. And then they just throw away that piece of plastic. They don't have to save anything. They don't have to bring us any bottles to try to fill for them. It all comes prepackaged, done. All they got to do is tear and take.
What a huge improvement. Wow.
Yeah.
So what if someone has a new medication added or one taken away after you've already prepared the blister pack?
So on each blister pack, it'll have like a list of their medications that they're on. It'll also have a description of how the medication looks. So in case they have medication to discontinue, they can take it out. But if they don't feel confident that their mom and dad may not take that out, might take, all they got to do is just bring them into us. Same day, we'll fix what the issue is and send it right back with new, where they have no issue about, no mistakes, no errors. It's all fixed for how they need to be taken. So we have a lot of patients that do get medications changed, as you know in the beginning. We work with every patient. Every patient is different. Some patients, we give them only a 7-day supply because we're just waiting to see if that medication is going to work.
I see.
Another good thing about it is that you don't have to worry about your mom or your dad or your loved one missing, not having the med, because we monitor the last day they have, and we're working on them before their last day. So we have them prepackaged and done before they even run out, so that we're aware and everything, and we know it all, we know what they're doing and everything.
Yeah. Boy, this is really interesting because, as we know, particularly from the perspective of someone with dementia who is relying now on either a system like this or a caregiver to help sort it out for them, or maybe both, this really helps advance some security around it for the caregiver. We feel a little more comfortable that the person for whom we're caring has these packets, and then tearing them off and taking them there's a little more assurance to that, and it takes the bottles out of the equation, right? I think a lot of caregivers can relate to a situation in which maybe there's a pill box, the daily pill box, but there's also bottles, and so a person trying to sort out their medication situations, looking at the bottles and they're looking at the box. This kind of takes all of that confusion out of it, doesn't it?
This takes all the hard work out of the medication problem. This also takes the work of not having enough of that medication to finish the week, or multiple trips to the pharmacy, because we have to sync them all to one day. So they're all synced, and every 4 weeks you get your medications on time. Also, another thing that helps the caregiver a lot is that it has a list of their medications on top. And I tell every caregiver, after that first week is over, tear that off and just fold it and put it in your pocket. So wherever you go now, you have a list of all their medications are on. We have a lot of those patients that will call you, it's the blue pill. Well, it's hard for us to know what blue pill it is, but
right.
When you have that list, it'll tell you the name of that blue pill, it'll tell you how they take it, it'll tell you who's it prescribed by, it'll tell you everything on there in that little small sheet on top. And I always tell patients, as many as you need, because you always get it every single month, so just tear it off and save it. If there's a change, just throw that one away and save the new one.
Save the new one.
So it helps
right.
the caregiver also know about what medications they're on, how they're taking it, when they're taking it, and it helps resolve that issue of just, not knowing what they're on.
I'm amazed by this because I hadn't heard about this until now. Is this an industry-wide innovation, or is this something you've been carrying forward at LuxCare?
So no, it's not. Not every chain does it. Okay. It's mostly, if you see it would be done by independent pharmacies. This is something that I noticed that not only helps us make sure the medication is in stock for the patient, so they're not running out and telling them, hey, we have to wait a couple days to get your medication. It also makes it convenient for them. We've had a lot of caregivers that just come in there with that bag of not knowing what they're on, how they take it, or nothing, and then we just resolve into a little small packet. Now, convenient for them. Sure. Now that we also help out patients if they have over-the-counter medications their mom or their dad or the patient is taking, we go through that list too. So now we're knowing what they're taking over the counter, and majority of the time we'll just put it in there for them to help them make sure that even they're taking their multivitamins and they're taking their vitamin B and all that all in there, so they don't have to confuse of did I take it, did I not take it. It's all in there. It helps us also monitor any drug interactions that the patient could have. So
what a magnificent idea.
It is. It's surprising that, instead of having all those bottles on your counter and which one night, day, and you have all the writing on there, this just solves the problem for you.
So you don't even give them the bottles, do you? You've got, you mentioned the list, the medication list is at the top of the blister packs. They don't need a bottle, do they?
They don't get bottles at all. They just come in there to get that. And each sheet has about 8 days on them. And you just, like I said, you just take it and you throw it away. You don't have to worry about bringing it back to us. You don't have to save anything. It helps relieve the caregiver from going in every weekend to try to put them in there, or it may fall or anything. This is all sealed until you open it, and then you can just take it.
You talked about the syncing, and I was wondering about that before you mentioned it. So let's suppose someone's coming to you and they're mid bottle, and now you have to sync those refills to the same date. What kind of a challenge is that?
So in the beginning, it is a challenge to get the patient synced to one day.
Yeah.
But because that system is so, it helps us monitor it better. So eventually, the first time you come in, we may give you a week or two just to try to get all the meds synced. And then after the first month or month and a half, we get you now everything synced on there. You just get your 28-day supply, and you're good to go. Majority of the time, even the caregiver can't even come to the pharmacy to pick up the medications. We'll just deliver it to their loved ones. They don't have, at no charge. We'll get it to them out there before they even run out. So they're, like I said, because the dates are on there, we can monitor when their loved ones run out of medication, and we're there before they even run out.
Listen to that, caregivers. That's a really terrific thing. Now, if someone, a caregiver, someone other than the patient, the person who's taking the medication, comes to you to pick it up, there's a process that has to be undertaken before you can just hand those over, right?
Yeah, so majority of the time, because we're a more small independent pharmacy, we eventually get to know you by person. So
Yeah.
most of the time when you first come in there, it's never really just the patient by themselves. It's the caregiver with them. So now we get to know the caregiver too that's taking care of them. And they most of the time tell us all the problems that they're having, that we can write it all down on their sheet. So that way, every time we're filling their medications, we're reviewing that, what happened on that day, who it is that they're taking care of. And then, the first few months, the caregiver is still nervous and all that. But then after that, we take it from there, and they have nothing to fear. Their medications are there, the medication's taken care of. As long as there's communication between us and the doctor and the patient, they're telling us about discontinuations and all that, it goes a very smooth and easy way. And also, every single month, we write them what needs refill. So that way, when they go to the doctor, they have their list highlighted. Hey, I need these before my next 28 days. So they have 28 days to even get the refill. We don't wait till they run out and be like, hey, wait, you need now a refill. And now we're struggling to get refills for them.
Sure. When we're talking about medication that's making a significant difference in a person's life, there's just not room for them to run out and miss doses. So really, over the last several years, I would say, probably more, the pharmacy has taken a greater role in that, haven't they? They're more willing and more able to reach out to the doctor and create these processes you're talking about that make sure there's no gaps. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. There are some great doctors out there that you can just call and get refills from. And there are some that require the patient to call. They don't want they don't want to get too many calls from other people than the patient. So sometimes we struggle with those clinics to get the refills from them. But because we adopted the system to let the patient know 28 days in advance that, hey, you're about to run out, it's made it a lot easier for all of us to get that refill before they even run out. Because most patients that are on top of it, they'll call their doctor right there when they got their 28 days, and now we have the refill before the next time it's even due. It's just there in their profile waiting to be filled. So that helps out a lot too.
Wow, this is, I'm just blown away by this innovation, because it has really taken away a lot of the challenges, hasn't it, of folks and their medications, and particularly those caring for those with dementia. That, man, it makes it a lot easier. As it relates to dementia medications, are you noticing anything unique about any of that stands out to you? You're filling those, of course, like you always would. But is there anything that stands out in your mind as you've dealt with some of those clients?
So the biggest thing with those medications that we just try to tell the caregiver that, they have to give this time for them to work. It's not something that once we give them the medication, they're going to see their loved ones change right away and now they're getting better.
Yeah.
This is just something, most of the medications out there are just to help with the symptoms. They're not really resolving the problem that's there. We don't really, as technology changes, we'll eventually have something that might help with the problem. But as for now, most of the medications that are out there we're just resolving the symptoms to help improve their life, the quality of life as much as we can. So that their loved ones, it's a progressive disease. So we're just trying to, delay it as much as we can with these medications so they can have a better quality of life. So I always tell the patients, give it time, and then maybe after a few, I would say about 6 months for you to start seeing an effect on it. And some people, some patients will come back or caregivers will come back and tell you, I'm not seeing an effect, and then we end up decreasing the medication, and they start, no, wait, put them back on there. I do see that difference now,
Interesting.
And we go back to, as long as we get them to that therapeutic range, the therapeutic dose, then most time they see a good effect with those medications.
Well, Ollie, I think this is the fastest 15 minutes that has ever gone by, but what terrific information for caregivers as it relates to medications for the ones for whom they're caring. Thank you for telling us about that.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Ali Ahmad's Lux Care Pharmacy is at 2503 Capitol Avenue in Battle Creek. Creating Dementia Solutions from Miles for Memories. Follow us on Facebook. Look for Miles for Memories there. You'll be alerted when these episodes come around. I'm Richard Pyatt. Thanks for being with us.